can't find employees. And it's not like highly skilled, work that she needs. She needs people who are willing to work. I'm not saying that the population isn't willing to work. I know that's something that people say, but I guess my impression was from speaking with her was that it's hard to get the word out. But what would be your take?
Well, there are certain jobs that people don't want to do. I know there are farms in my former riding when I was an elected member that bring in 300 people from Jamaica.
Yeah.
And
they'll work.
They do the work, and there's just not 300 other people available. So that one of the farms has created a new what would you call it? A new brand of strawberry plant. So they grow these plants, and not only do they sell the strawberries, but they sell the plants, and they ship them all over the world.
Okay.
Because they're the best strawberry plants on the planet. But it takes 300 people to process those plants and to cultivate them and to harvest them.
But surely we have, and I'm not saying I think it's wonderful that we bring in workers from other countries. That's awesome. But at the same time, surely we have 300 people here that are unemployed. And this is a really touchy subject because there are lots of reasons.
They advertised for 100 jobs and had 6 applications.
Where do they advertise, I wonder?
I don't know, but they put the word out that there was 600 jobs available for an agriculture project, and they had 6 applications, and in the end, I think only 2 or 3 took a job, and they ended up bringing in temporary foreign workers to do the work. Otherwise, there'd be they wouldn't be able to do it.
I wonder if the disconnect doesn't come from how things are communicated, though. Like the person I was speaking to, that employer who can't find workers, she told me where she was advertising, and I just wonder if maybe that's part of what we're doing. We're not communicating to the population clearly enough in ways that will reach them. Like, if you're looking for work, it's not very attractive anymore or motivating to go to a job site and look at a bunch of stuff and just look at the credentials and then send off your resume or walk around. Like, things have changed in the job seeking industry as well, and the job seeking sector of society. I don't know how you say it, but it's like we're just all missing each other.
Well, we have unique issues in Cumberland County too that aren't the same as everywhere else, but
such as
aging population.
Yeah,
we have an aging population, and that's part of the population is aging, but the other end of it is that the young people are leaving, which drives up the average age faster. We had this wonderful event in July to celebrate the closing of the prisoner
I think I heard of that. Yeah,
prisoner of war camp. But if you look at the video in there, there's so many of us, including me, with gray hair.
Yes,
and it was quite
to celebrate a piece of history that most people aren't really connected to anymore,
or didn't even know about. But it just struck me there. But when I go to a meeting here, it's a different group than if I go to a meeting in Ottawa or in Mississauga.
How so?
Well, the average age is so much lower. And so, I mean, that's a challenge we have. And it's a challenge for all of rural Canada. Everybody is experiencing that. Every rural area is fighting for their life. And we have to fight for our lives. We just have to. We have to do everything we can to maintain it. Someday, this may turn. Rural areas may become more attractive again. And it's important that we keep our infrastructure. Like, we had so many railways. We had railways to Pugwash. We had them to Parsboro. We had railways to Spring Hill. We had railways everywhere. They're all gone now.
And there's no real, accessible public transit.
No, there's no public transit to speak of.
Cumberland County Transit.
They do have that.
I can't remember exactly what it's called. I apologize out there. And they do work hard, and people are working to try and get a transit system. Yeah. But it's not.
But someday
getting any traction.
We might be sorry we gave up those rail lines. Not today, but someday we might be sorry. So I think it's important to keep our infrastructure, recognize our history, and then identify our strengths and build on those strengths. And I do believe one of our strengths is the potential for tourism. I do believe that. But that we have other strengths too in agriculture areas and manufacturing. We have opportunities in other areas that we have. We've got more alternative energy sources than anybody on the planet. We have solar, we have wind, we have natural gas, we have tidal power.
And there was a new buzz about solar. What's happening with solar? Do you know what was happening there? I saw something on Facebook, and I know that the town held an information session the other night at Cubic.
No, the town's very innovative, and they're very innovative, and they're trying lots of different things on being more energy efficient. But I believe that there's going to be a huge change in battery technology right away. There are several technologies that are just in the perfection stage about new batteries, which will have 20 times the capacity and quick charge.
So
it'll change everything. It's going to change everything.
Do you know how? Like what the science is behind it?
I don't. I just know one's based on sodium, which is a completely new technology, and one is a version of other technologies that have already been there. But my understanding is they're not far away. And when that happens, then solar energy is going to be much more attractive. And wind energy is, and tidal energy will become priceless, because right now the problem with tidal energy, you can only have the energy when the tide's turning. But with battery technology and battery storage capability, I believe the planet is going to change real fast. That's what I believe.
That's exciting.
It is. And it's very exciting, but I believe battery technology is on the very verge of new stuff. And, the car companies are only doing research on electric cars. Ford just announced an electric Mustang, and just to give you an example,
that's pretty cool.
It is. They got it out, and Tesla just announced an electric truck today.
I was just thinking, Elon Musk has been working on this for a long time.
No, he has. He started it really, and he did a lot of work on the lithium-ion battery. And in fact, Tesla has only one connection to one university for battery technology, and it's Dalhousie in Halifax.
Really?
They have some of the leading battery technologists on the planet in Halifax.
Interesting.
Tesla now creates batteries for houses, so you can store solar energy, wind energy, and so on, and then just use that.
So why aren't we talking to Elon?
Well, good question. I think he's in space.
Yeah, he's trying to get there anyways.
But he's very innovative. But to me, the planet is going to change. Like the lithium-ion batteries are good now, but these new technologies are supposed to be so much better, exponentially better. And in holding a charge and also quick charge.
And you believe that we are in a geographical position to be able to take advantage of that?
We have more ways to take advantage of it than anybody on the planet. We have geothermal in Spring Hill, which is incredible, and very few have that.
So can you explain to me what geothermal is? Because I hear a lot about that, and I'm sure there are people listening who are like, yeah, but what is it? What's geothermal? How does it work?
It's simple. The coal mines in Spring Hill go down 5 miles into the earth, and they were shut down after explosions in the late 50s, but they filled up with water. Okay. But they go down so far, they go down to where the earth is hot.
Okay.
And it heats the water comes to the top, hot water comes to the surface, so the water is right there, the hot water is there.
Right.
And so you don't need any energy to heat it, you just need the motor out of your washing machine to circulate the water through your radiators, and you'll have heat.
And it's that can heat your home as well, because like with in-floor heating and stuff, it all uses hot water.
It's virtually free heat. It's underutilized, but now that Spring Hill has been taken over by the county, I know there's a big effort on to try to find ways to take advantage of it.
Do you have to be located geographically where that is?
Well, it's best to be over one of the mines if you can, but there are factories in Spring Hill that wouldn't be there.
As long as you're not over one of the sinkholes.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want to be over sinkhole. But there's one factory there I know, I've talked to many times, that's Ropac Can-Am, and they wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the geothermal energy. But they have the most efficient factory in their whole global community of factories. Spring Hill is the most efficient because they have virtually free heat.
Here's a question. If you were to advise any, grade 11, grade 12 student as to what they might want to study, if they wanted to be able to find interesting work back here at home or develop interesting work back here at home in Cumberland County, what would you suggest they study?
Well, it certainly depends on the person. I mean, you got
for sure.
You got to study something that you're interested in and you'll enjoy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But certainly, alternative energies would be a key for sure, and because Cumberland County in particular has more alternative energies than any county in Canada. And I believe that we can take advantage of those.
And in terms of trades, I would think there would be a lot of opportunities there as we go in the future, because people will be building and developing things differently in homes and electrical systems. And
well, there's another little project that's about to start. The governments of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and the government of Canada are just doing a $700,000 study on how to protect ourselves from rising sea levels between Amherst and Sackville. And when that study is done in a very short time, there's going to be a multi-$100 million project there to help protect our transportation links. Like the rail line between Amherst and Sackville now is the only thing that holds back the ocean. When you look at pictures, it's scary. The whole ocean is just being held back by this rail line, which was never meant to hold back an ocean. It was made to take trains. And the water comes right up to the top of the rail line. There's driftwood on the tracks. And if that ever gave way, then our link for Halifax and for Newfoundland would be lost. And it would be the rail link, it would be the highway link, and it could be our electrical grid as well. So it's one of the most critical resource links in the country, and it's the most at risk.
Wow.
It is the most at risk. The United Nations did a study of all North America in 2007. And they identified two places in North America that were most vulnerable. One was New Orleans. One was the Isthmus of Chignecto. And New Orleans then shortly thereafter, New Orleans was flooded. And we haven't had the flood yet, but it's just luck.
Yeah.
It's just luck. There's 425,000 containers a year land in Halifax. Every single one of them
Has to cross.
And there's thousands of cars land in Halifax for the North American market.
Yeah.
Every single one of them has to go across this rail link. If that rail link shuts down, Halifax will shut down.
Yeah.
Not only us here, but there's going to be a tremendous construction job there. And local companies should try to be in a position to take advantage of it. But again, just the people that are going to be required to do it is going to be enormous. Look after those
I
people.
think we definitely forget how important we are geographically to trade across the country and across the continent, really.
Well, you know, it's really interesting. The Isthmus of Chignecto is a transportation link, east and west. But 100 years ago and more, it was a transportation link north and south. The Acadians had a village called Beaubassin on the Bay of Fundy, and they had another one on the Northumberland Strait called Fort Gaspereau. And they built a transportation link between them. And that was a link between the Bay of Fundy and the Northumberland Strait. So the Acadians would bring their produce and their goods to Beaubassin, truck them across the road to Fort Gaspereau in New Brunswick, near Port Elgin, and ship them to Ile Saint-Jean and Louisbourg and Quebec. And then in 1880, they built the ship railway, which was north and south again. So in those times, it was a north and south transportation link. Now it's east and west. I just think it's really interesting that this isthmus is such an important link. Always has been.
Yeah.
Now it's especially important for the moose because they are moving to Nova Scotia to breed. So
Are they?
they are, yeah.
Maybe they'll create some jobs.
Well, but they probably will because they get in the way on the highways.
The poor moose. Well, thanks very much. We're kind of at half an hour now. I think this is a great start to the conversation. We took it all kinds of different places, which is great because I really just want this whole show to be about what people think of the area and what we can do and what's happening.
And we need every idea. If anybody has a notion or an idea, call our social media because we don't have the answer to this. We know what the problem is, but there are so many great organizations working on this issue. We need to gel.
And there are tons of entrepreneurs who are excited and volunteers who are excited and innovative and all working really hard to grow. And there's something that's missing, and we're just not sure what it is.
Well, we're fighting a natural phenomenon that's everywhere, and that is this tremendous sucking sound coming from Halifax in particular.
But it doesn't have to be like that anymore because industry and business doesn't have to take place physically in an urban center.
It doesn't, but there are still other attractions to the urban center. Like, I've seen this over and over and over again. When there's a branch plant or an office of another business or government agency, the officials or the executives want to be in Halifax. So they manage to end up taking the whole thing to Halifax.
Yeah.
And or some other major city. But it's something that we have to battle every single day.
Well, thanks very much, Bill Casey, for joining me on ARC Social Media's Business Boost, our inaugural episode.